could be extremely beneficial to just have somebody for him to at least act as a mentor,
They're going top
or
left.
not as a mentor, a guardian. Look into that, June. If you can do that, I promise you. Look, ask about your visa and the issues financially and in terms of internationally that can prevent you. See if there's anything that would prevent you from getting that tuition scholarship program, because if I know that one of the things that everyone keeps talking to me about trying to be pilots is that trying to pay for your own fuel and trying to get your classes and just normal tuition outside of like other things and housing is extremely expensive, and it's hard for most students, which is why the world is losing pilots.
Oh, dude, I got you housing covered. I got you covered, clothes, dude. I got all of that, dude. And extra money on the side.
Like pilots are falling out of this world because of how
My dad
ropes
was
get
a
jumped
pilot. Or not my dad. My grandpa. He was a World War II.
There's a ramp behind us, FYI.
Pilot.
He's charging you, sorry.
through. Yeah, nowadays there's a lot of prerequisites. Like you have to go to like a training course. You have to have like a 4-year bachelor for the class. You have to be willing to pay for some stuff, and then for every single like company that you travel to, they pay like a minimum of like around 80K roughly, and then you have to make sure you go through their informational programming, and then you have to basically be flying all the time because you're essentially because they're falling out. They need more of them, so your schedule is really jacked. So with all these different things, it's the reason why we're losing pilots is because of all these like hoops that you have to jump through. So if being able to have a scholarship to help you for financial reasons with tuition and going through that hoops, June, I think it would be an ease on you as an exchange, or not an exchange, but as an international student, because it would become you could at least kind of manage it slightly better. Because I think they said you only need to really do about 5 hours of like, just in terms of like somewhat service, not like going out in the cold, but just kind of like being a part of a meeting or something and talking about your plans for the future, and that's basically all it is. So it's a really simple program that doesn't really take a lot, but it gives a lot back.
I'm freaking confused right now, dude.
Oh no, I can, yeah.
Basically, mentor. They'll cut your tuition.
So like just like tutor people, kind of. Or
For what? What? You mentioned.
So so the program happens sometime in the summer, I believe. But if you take the classes right now, I believe it's just the basic SLSS class and then SLS 3200. 3200 is basically saying that you are a mentor and you're becoming a mentor for the institute. And so if you take that class, you probably actually can already get into 3200 because you probably have enough stuff done to even...
I mean for what? For what? Like, so you mean I'm gonna be, if I can get the money if I'm mentor, right?
Right.
For what?
So you're just basically like a guidance counselor for students, and then you're also acting as sort of, you know, like those camp counselors that walk by and like they kind of like greet people who are new to the school. Like it was kind of like the orientation. Those people that were.
Well, is he going to be capable? Like if there's a language barrier?
It would be, oh, dude, no. If they have international Korean students, June would have. There are plenty, by the way, because when I went to my orientation, there was a lot of, I don't know exact language barrier, but most of them did have
Asian descent.
Asian descent. There you go. That's the best way to put it. And they did have a lot of people like that. Some of them were just mentors who were acting as kind of a voice for them. So you could speak Korean. There's probably a huge. Probably a huge group of people like you.
All right voices.
So, teach the Korean, right?
Like yeah, like because if the people like are coming from Korea and they need like help because sometimes they don't always have good language and communicate, you can basically just help them out and then just kind of help them out in their classes occasionally. You're not like a guidance counselor per se. You're more of just like a mentor and making sure everybody is happy and enjoying UVU. So for Korean students, if they have language barriers and you're acting as a sort of person who can say, hey, I know Korean and I can help you. If you have any problems, come and talk to me. Then you're a really big asset for UVU, because I don't think there's very many people that can be.
I think we have IFS there.
Sorry, was that what I something issues? What was that last thing you said? I couldn't remember.
If we have IS, that's like a help international.
Right. So essentially, you would be acting as an international student who speaks Korean on behalf of other international Korean students, if that makes sense. You would essentially be the person that, for anybody that felt like they were disconnected and that they couldn't function in this Western society, you would be the middleman and essentially talk to them because you can speak Korean yourself and a pretty fair amount of English, and you would be able to, I guess, help people out. It wouldn't be like a crazy thing that you need to do, but just being there for people when they need it, because I'm assuming that it must be hard living in Utah and having lots of language barrier problems and being on our team especially. So just imagine how much help you could be to people who are on the same situation, but worse in some cases.
I'm on backside.
So yeah, it's just, I can link it to you.
That seems like a. Is this like a? Like, is that like an everyday thing? Like you do that for every day?
No. I was very adamant about asking about like hours and what is required for the thing.
Yeah, how much do you have to do that?
She said 5 to 10 hours, and most of it is.
Oh, that's easy.
And most of it is just small meetings that you do as a group, and the rest of it is just time. And you get those hours due when you are in the class. So it's not like you have to do this outside of class. This is in class. So if it's 5 to 10 hours in class, and if you're gone or maybe you're missing a day, you just make up those hours outside, or like you go to like meetings and stuff. They have like 1 or 2 mandatory meetings every year, and then everything else is mostly just kind of team coordination, kind of like what we do after scrims. So it's very light. I was very adamant about asking about this because I didn't want to be like working 20 hours, like basically another part-time job, while also having another part-time job and
that's
having
what I thought
school.
it was.
Yeah, no, it's not nearly as crazy as it sounds, because it's basically you get your hours in class with your other people that you talk to. So you don't even have to be spending most of your time outside of it because you're already doing it for your classes. So don't worry about that in terms of like, oh, I don't want to be like, I'm already working a ton anyway. I can't work very much more. Like it's pretty hard on me, but it would give you the benefits of being able to not have to necessarily make an extreme sacrifice financially and time-wise. It would save you a lot of time, essentially. And money, yeah, because being a pilot, the worst part is all of these prerequisites and hoops you have to jump through to become one. College is probably the worst because of all of the fees and minimum things that go by. So it's something that I figured I would just throw around to see if you would be, if you're struggling financially, like you have to spend a lot of time working, and then it's like really hard to just make yourself have good housing, and it's not necessarily something you think you could do because it might be time consuming. It's not that time consuming, and they're pretty flexible. I asked them, I was like, okay, well, what if I can't make those meetings? What if I have like other things like work or something? And she said, as long as you're doing the hours in some way that will prove to UVU, not us as guidance counselors, but to UVU, we don't care how you do it.
And McCree's flanking
Just
back left.
show that you're committed, essentially. That you just have to do anything, exist, like be somewhat of a help. So it's not like you have to. It would be cool. Offering.
Great, I thought I meleeed. Huh.
He's typing this on.
If you want me to, I can link you some of the information, and I can get you to one of the counselors that I talked to about it. So if you want to ask questions, I could just link you all the information, if you would be interested, that is.
What do you think about it, June? Is it really freaking confusing like I'm thinking it is? Oh,
Okay.
okay, I guess I'm just retarded. I don't know.
Oh wait, he gave me the link of our match today.
They're gonna have dead end.
Yeah, he recruit.
Oh, he recorded our match?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, what a nice guy! Holy frick, sign him up!
He stays.
Oh, I messed up.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Well, that's kind of a lifesaver because now I was. Oh, I don't really know how to
Dude.
or say this, but I had an emergency come up and I couldn't
Dropped the
respond.
ball.
Yeah, and so I couldn't even respond because we'll say reasons.
Eh,
So
fuck.
I wasn't able to record it, but I'm glad that your friend was. So
Dude, this
have
guy's,
that.
this guy's nice. Wow.
That's wicked.
I can't understand anything you guys said. Cha ha ha.
Stay low. Stay low.
Keep pushing, keep pushing.
E.
Our monkey's asleep.
I'm
Ibu. Bui chi. Bui chi.
Yeah, we should have kept pushing. We're supposed
What does that mean?
Our monkey was asleep. Tried to kill it actually. Tragic.
Well, what?
Yeah, I gotta rally.
In Korean. Bu. I chi. Chi.
축이네. 네?
Booty cheeks.
I have no idea.
Dude's like, is this guy high? What is he?
I'm just trying to read the Korean you guys type.
He's like, booty cheeks? What? I don't know what. Sonny, if you want to become really like
I'm a Korean
adamant
man.
about your esports like career and stuff, learning Korean is actually probably one of the biggest things you could do.
Really?
Like it's think about it. How many OWL teams have you heard about struggling really badly with communication issues because like half of them are Korean and half of them are Western? I think London Spitfire, one of their players, he speaks perfect English and Korean, so he's like the biggest asset for the team. There's a reason why they will not ever, like in a million years, drop him because he's the gateway between all of the confusion because there's 3 Koreans and 3 English
Dude,
players.
Korean is so hard though.
I know, but
So hard.
it's one of the biggest things because most
Like-
teams are fusing together with Korean players, and if you can put yourself as a marketable player and say, hey, I'm really good, I have like 4,500 peak, I've played with a bunch of people before, and I also speak really good Korean and English, that's like like that's a
But-
rare commodity.
But I like you guys. Holy.
I mean, you're not gonna be with us forever, so like, you
I know,
don't, you don't have, you don't have to do that right now.
This is like long-term like ideas, but if you wanted to
Yeah.
like become like a big, if you wanted to essentially, if this was a competition and you were against another
Yeah.
player and
thought-
maybe like something happened,
Yeah,
you
I
could
agree with
say, you could be like, hey, I speak Korean too, like, and
So-
there's like a bunch of teams that struggle with that.
Yeah. My plan right now, well, this is my best plan right now, is to definitely stick with you guys. There's no better team I can join right now that's better than us. that is looking for someone.
And in Utah,
Oh yeah, and like 90% of them is in Utah. That's actually insane. What the frick?
Oh, yeah, we're the best team in Utah, like easily. No doubt.
You can't get if there was any like a team that I didn't know about or did know about, like how do you get even any better than
Yo,
this? We're all
dude,
of you
dude,
like 4,500 peaks.
Let's contact Space Station Gaming. See if they'll sponsor us. Dude. No joke. All Utah team, they're Utah as in headquarters. I think that's easy clap. All I have to do is sign June as my legal guardian. He's making bank. Not really, but you can try.
June, are you just
Center.
kind of I guess circling back on things? Would you want me to just link you like some sort of like information that you can use to ask about it, or are you pretty reserved and don't really? Later. Sounds good.
All right, so
I figured I'd let you know at least. I figured I would give it out to you and let you know about it because most people
Understood
actually
that.
don't. I only heard about it when I was actually in the
so
class.
I actually do have a question for
Oh
you,
no,
June.
no, They weren't doing it.
This is serious, man. No joke. Stop stuttering and say this correctly without your voice going crazy. Hey, kick Groovy, man. Kick Groovy. He's scary. Okay, I'm server deafening him.
Server muted.
Yeah, he can't hear you. So if we do make it, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if we're gonna make it to Contenders Trials, this open division, cause you know what I mean. It's gonna be like we're trying to figure out what's best for us. And it's like, and it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? For us right now.
Well, why do you think you won't make it to Contenders Trials? Like,
Because
what's
I feel like people are more organized than us, in a sense.
defined.
I feel like the top, there's gonna be at least, I feel like we are in the top 10, maybe even top 15, something like that. But I just feel like there's gonna be like at least 6 to 7 teams that really know what they're doing, like super good.
Oh no, definitely. Like that's why June is saying that we probably should, if we lose, say in like Contenders Trials or Open Division, we would be better off joining another organization as a team and as a group, because we're pretty marketable nonetheless. All of our players are pretty high ranks, but you're right in that most teams, again, as I said, most of these organizations that these Contenders teams are playing for get paid like full salary, like 40K minimum a year. Like it's really good money. So if you are talking strictly about like sponsorships and deals and, you know, having your players be paid to play and being able to seem functional versus them.
But that means that I have to like, I mean, that means like some of us would be together, but that means like June wouldn't be with us or something
No,
like that.
not necessarily. June, all he has to do is just get a guardian.
Dude,
I say that
I'm
in
a-
absolute.
You're my guardian, dude. No, I mean, what?
Yes.
dude, I'm being
No,
legit,
don't flip
June.
it. Don't flip it. That's
June,
how it is.
If you cannot find a guardian that's like literally that, my parents will actually take care of you. I'm not even trolling. No troll. If you like want to make money somehow and like need a guard, oh, stop. Dude, my voice hurts so bad. Dude, I don't even want to imagine. I feel like, dude, I have extra rooms, dude. I can extra, dude. I have an extra really nice mouse, dude. Dude, oh, stop saying, dude. I don't know. I'm just saying.
June's problem right now is that because his visa is kind of handicapping him in terms of what he can do and what he cannot do. What if he has some sort of like residential status that grounds him to being a U.S. citizen of sorts, like with a guardian, or becoming a U.S. citizen because he's an international student, he's able to come here. But if he was able to find a way to ground himself, he would be able to be a lot more,
Winston got like fucking
I guess,
84% win
flexible
rate.
and be a lot more able to,
Fuck.
I guess, make things work for the team.
Oh my
Because
fucking
he could
God,
also
this
be
guy is
a really big
Pretty sure it's so back. You should get
asset for marketing,
Yo,
because
baby
again,
bag
he's
artist.
Korean.
And his name is Supreme. Like,
Yeah, his name is Supreme,
His name
and
is
not
Supreme.
only that, but people have a stigma
don't
about
go to
Korean
Korea?
players
I
that
thought
like
you were
all
top
Korean players are just like god tier, and like regardless, like you could be like the worst player, you could be like the worst Korean in the world, and you're probably better than most of the NA and EU players anyway.
very
like-
true.
It's like there's a reason why all these OWL teams don't care about
Dude, this
Western
guy
players some of the
fishing
times, and they just only care about having freaking Korean players, is because it's just that kind of
Yeah.
stigma.
You can go
So
Tracer too.
June
Also,
being
yeah, good pick.
being part of it and being, I guess, gifted from where he's came from would be like a huge asset, because it'd be like, yeah, he's actually one of like the best competitive Korean players out there. He's like, top 10. That's like what OWL players are doing. But he gets to do it to be a Contenders player. Like he could be really big for stuff like that. So getting him into a status where he's financially able to actually make these movements, because
Okay, you guys
as
ready to
far
go
as we
on
know,
gas station?
we don't know what the visa is.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just. Yeah, this is just basically up to June too. Like, it's whatever he wants to. honestly.
Obviously. Like
Yeah.
we're just
I'm
we're just talking.
Dude, I'm gonna force you to be my brother. Alright, come on, come down, dude. Yeah, we can't do that. But what was I gonna say? Also, Overwatch really quick. We need to be able to make quad DPS a little bit less chaotic.
Get
for
both
us.
low.
Yeah,
both-
I also think that's good con.
We almost have
I just
It needs to be more. It needs to be more streamlined. It needs to be
No,
easier to.
yeah, it's we're just shooting, dude. We're just shooting.
I'm pretty sure June is pissed because right now there's no like.
also Sony. If we are going to play for DPS, I think you gotta practice Tracer or DPS.
Hey, yeah, dude, I practiced a little bit. Let me check how many hours I got. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. I only have 30 minutes on Tracer this season. Okay, and I have 8 minutes on Torb. That's good.
June, question. Can you? So does your friend just have the thing recorded, and does he have it like on Twitch or something, or
Yeah,
is
it's
it
on
more
YouTube.
just like
It's on Fracture. Look at the Fracture chat.
no, you freaking have it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sonny, it's gonna be either yours or my job, or depending on if June's friend wants to help us out. If we need to come up with a more streamlined compositions, because as far as we know, this team does not.
Wait,
The enemy
also-
team does not stick to one strategy.
Wait,
They
really,
like
I need to tell June something
multiply.
really quick. Super freaking fast. June, when rumor gets here, do we want? I mean, oh my gosh, remorse.
Remor.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
DPS June.
Yeah, DPS.
Your friend.
Sorry, I don't know why I said. Just don't worry. When remorse X gets here, we should. I feel like we need him on Tracer or.
Lucio. Lucio.
He's
June
going
is
to
having-
play everything.
Yeah, he can play everything.
Free one,
He
free
can
one.
act as an all-flex rebuild. June, or not June.
Just
Sonny, he's having
Sony.
you. He's
If
having
we
you play
got,
it because he-
just Sony, if we are going to for DPS, you gotta play. I think it's Sombra.
Reset.
Want me to play Sombra? Dude,
Yeah,
I
I
still have 100% win rate or 80% win rate in season 3 or not season 3. What the fudge?
Or I can play, but can you play any DPS? Seriously, like
Hey, maybe
in
give
higher
us
level.
no, I don't know.
in
I think
honesty,
my
'cause-
best DPS is like I honestly I've my tracking gotten like really good.
Monkey, 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 monkey,
I
monkey,
don't,
monkey
I don't
behind.
know what I did, but it's like I've practiced like a
get
lot
that.
of Game Hero. Like,
Nice,
I've grinded
nice,
like
Pushing
10
Genji.
hours every morning. So like my best DPS right now are Soldier and Tracer. But
He was out of mech.
I'm
Genji,
like-
sound barrier.
I'm better. I'm not.
Genji,
What I need to get better at is like knowing where to
I
play
got fat ahead.
and like 1v1s.
Oh, Sonny, I can help you with that because
Because when June told me, I just do exactly what June tells me to do, and I try to do the best ability I can. He told me to 1v1 the Tracer. So every time I saw that
We
Tracer
bladed when
going
they sound
anywhere,
barrier. It feels bad,
I would go
dude.
pressure. And then,
Massive feels bad.
but she would get like followed up with like a Sombra, and I was like, what the fudge? Unfair. And I
Sonny, so June is having you learn Sombra and Tracer because he's wanting to cover his grounds and cover his bases because when DPS June comes in, inevitably DPS June can play everything. We have him as our DPS all flex,
Let's go gold.
but when we need you to, we can know for a fact that you can play this hero. So when it comes down to it, because yes, you can play most off tanks, but if we're going to be running quad DPS, we need to know that you can play these heroes not only at a high level, but you're also training and practicing yourself on it as well as off tank. So
wanna go
if,
golds?
if we're going to take the quad DPS meta
I don't
seriously,
know. Do you guys want to
we have to make sure that we're
yeah,
covering
okay,
our
I'm
ground.
gonna grind. I'm gonna grind on my Shinu account. I'm gonna just do DPS only.
if you're
Like,
going to learn how to duel as a
Tracer, Soldier
tracer,
only.
you're going to have
Watch
a
the brand.
hard time. Sonny, I need you to look up
Wait, all
Sabiobi,
goods.
and I need you to study his playstyle. He's the best tracer. He's the best counter tracer in the world.
All right,
He's
I'll do
a
that.
god at it. His playstyle is completely different. They refer to it as a different
Give
art
me
style
Zarya then.
to play tracer. Whereas most times you would think that like tracer is like a blink around and completely chase all the supports and cause mass chaos and stick tanks
Wait,
and
Diva
kill
better or
support
Zarya
stuff like that, right? It sounds pretty easy for tracer. Sabielby plays sort of a stockish playstyle. He doesn't blink in and engage just randomly like what you see like kind of like other tracers do.
Hold
He
top
plays
cave.
stockish, and when he
Right now, I'm
chases,
10,
when he
20.
sees an enemy tracer that's really good, this is why the US keeps sucking and why Sinatra keeps dying to Sabielby in World Cup plays, is because, think about it, Tracer used to almost be able to kill Zen almost instantly in a one clip because he was only 150 health when Zen first came out. Remember that?
Tracer still does
I'll
easily.
bubble you on the way down.
Oh, easily. But think about it this way: Tracer has 150 health. If you
Let's go,
timed
let's
it
go.
just right and you jumped on Tracer at the at that one moment when she didn't really have a blink, where she wasn't paying attention to you,
Oh yeah, like
and
if
you
she
shoot her,
was working in a
she's
straight
dead.
line.
Like,
Yeah,
she just
I'll
dies
bubble you,
instantly,
yeah, yeah.
right? It's an easy kill. So I need you to learn how to play like that, because if we're gonna have you playing Tracer, we need to have DPS June not having to worry about it, and the team in general, because you need to learn how to stalk and prey
Bubbling you.
upon Tracers and really vulnerable supports.
Winston one, no
Not
jump.
try and be like an all flex aim god and like learn how to learn how to survive in a bullet storm of damage.
Break
Yeah,
bubble.
that's actually very true. Yeah, I get that. That's like the thing I have troubles with. Is trying to like survive, but trying to pressure.
Just peel him
what I
out,
need
peel
to-
him out.
You can put pressure in so many ways as a Tracer because her kit allows her to do basically whatever the team needs her to. If you need damage, she's got that. If you need mobility, she's got that. If you need like some sort of like stall hero, she's the best at that. You know, she's got everything the team could probably want at what you would need for that category. But there's a reason why Sabielby is considered the best as Tracer, is because he knew that he couldn't put himself out there as a different kind of Tracer one trick from all these other Tracer one tricks, because there were so many of them, and some of them have better aim per se, but they don't have game sense.
Go bubble.
So that was what set him apart and what made him the best, and why NYXL was so dominant, is because these Tracer gods can't do anything, because Tracer is a vulnerable hero when another Tracer is present because of 150 health. That's an easy burn, and Tracers tend to strafe a lot in patterns, and if they're not looking at you, that's the easiest kill. So like, the biggest thing is that June is going to be getting pressured a lot when he's going to be playing supports. Tracers are going to, when Tracer comes back to the meta, which I know she will be, when Tracer comes back to the meta, it's going to be hell on earth for everybody that plays a support. Like, it's going to be the worst nightmare ever. You're going to have to be like perfect position in terms of it, but if you're able to make Tracer's life significantly harder, June can handle Genji, he can handle almost every other hero. Tracer has been unanimously Zen's and Ana's most annoying counter, per se, to deal with. So being able to be that Tracer that can just shut him down and let other people do their jobs, that's going to be your biggest asset, because then June can be off to the races and doesn't have to worry about being dove by Tracer. He can handle a Winston and like a Diva to an extent, but he can't. It's hard to really duel Tracer because she's that mobile. So you need to be that for the team, is what I want you to be for the team, is being able to be that kind of Tracer, because I'm pretty sure DPS June can just play Tracer and just play it like how most do, which is just as flat out DPS, like, you know, go in, play aggressive. But if DPS June, if we need him to play another hero, but we still need a Tracer, you have to be that. You have to be and learn how to play exactly like Sabielby does, because that's how you're gonna win versus these players that aim like Defran on Tracer and get like perfect one clips. That's what you're gonna have to be for the team, which sounds like a lot of pressure, but
So
you can do it.
I see that like Tracer. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So you'd be able to like freaking.
Think
Sheesh.
stockish. Think stockish.
No.
Don't think like.
Yeah,
think, like, super aggro.
Sunny is not going to play Tracer. We have Tracer.
Oh yeah, the only way I'm gonna be playing Tracer is if it's in quad DPS, and I absolutely we need to.
Exactly, but that's why I know the situation where we have him on quick DPS.
So I think Sunny.
Would we want, actually, June? Would we want them to play something else other than Tracer? Because isn't DPS June gonna be playing that?
You play Pharah. Or...
Don't we have Psy playing Pharah though? Isn't that like his best hero?
Yeah, no. I mean practice Pharah, Hanjo. Like so, not hit scan. Yeah, practice everything without hit
Yes, sir.
hit scan. Yeah.
Just don't practice hit scan.
No, I'm gonna practice hit scan. So you practice player without hit scan. You understand?
Playing against his scan?
Yeah, like I mean except hit scan, practice.
Everything besides hit scan.
No, so same thing with Sai. I'm
Practice
gonna
everything.
practice hit scan. So don't you understand what I mean?
So
He's
you're
saying
gonna
play everything and learn how to
So,
play
yeah,
everything, become
me and
competent with it.
DPS Jun is going to play hit scan. Like,
Uh-huh.
so you and Zai going to play,
Projectile.
yeah, sub other DPS.
Okay.
Because when the time comes, when we have quad DPS, we need to know what everyone can play. We don't want to be in the situation right now where we're like, can you play this? Can you swap to this hero? And then nobody's comfortable with it, and then we look like we're doing nothing. So that's we're trying to.
So
this is
when we run quad DPS, do we want to like?
We need to streamline it. We need to make it more obvious. We need to make it more. We need to make it less crazy and sporadic and instinctive and stuff like that. We need to make it more streamlined. Like, oh, the counter to this is this, or the best answer, or the suitable situation is this composition.
So wait, what are all the DPS that are potentials to run into quad DPS?
Genji, Tracer, Widow, Hanzo, Ashe. Those are auto de facto's Pharah. Who else?
I don't know. I feel like I could.
Every
My
DPS
Genji's good. With my, I feel like
just think like every DPS that's been good for like the past year, and that's probably the heroes that we'll be using, which is a lot actually. Just think like contenders level like good, not like a symmetric good, but like the best heroes at their respective role. That's what we're going to be mostly using, because most of the other heroes are either too niche.
June, is there like specific heroes you want to give me that I can practice on?
Hera, Hanjo, just everything. I'm gonna DM you.
Alright, yeah.
I'm being competitive with my friend now. So.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because with quad DPS, that's a lot of heroes to practice for everybody. That's not even considering that some teams probably won't even care about running quad DPS. They might just run 2-2-2, and then our practice could be a little bit void.
Void,
as in like, yeah, like because if we're running quad DPS, but then 2-2-2 turns out to be way more dominant and more powerful than quad DPS is, then if we just practice for like a month and maybe even a year, depending on how long we stick with this, and we find out that we can't make it work versus really disciplined teams, because the death
I feel like we'll figure that out pretty fast.
Well, the death of triple DPS wasn't meta changes. It was because Korean players and their discipline is what changed it. Look up Rogue versus Envision. That's the best video. It's by Your Overwatch. They weren't a good team. Envision was not a good team, but they were well disciplined to where Rogue's amazing talent couldn't do much because they were playing as a team. So I'm worried that quad DPS is going to be even worse than that, and that if we run against like a Korean contenders team that we may have either scrimmed or played in just our potential future, I'm worried that we might end up kind of screwing ourselves over and wasting practice time within competitive and as a team.
Just be flexible.
June's like simplifying, but I'm giving long examples where I don't probably need to. So
I don't think so, because I mean, when they try to run dive against us, we like, I know that could change, but
I was thinking about this earlier, and I was wondering like how quad DPS manages to function as a sort of composition. The reason why I was thinking quad DPS works is because it's not a team playstyle change. It's an individual. It's a solo mentality in a team-oriented way. You yourself, for every hero that you're playing, as June was saying, it's all about getting value out of your hero and becoming like getting the most value for your bang for your buck, essentially. So you as a player have to make that swap to a different DPS that can get value in a better way or an easier way. So I think that's why quad DPS works so well, is because there's so much DPS that if you play it right and you counter swap really well, even comps that I'm seeing you guys ran on Volskaya, the enemy team was running a 2-2-2 comp. They didn't have the right kind of heroes to beat it. So it's all about getting value out of your individual player, out of your individual hero. That's why it works. Not because it's got some weird synergy with team aspect, because inevitably, what synergy does Genji, Tracer, Widow, and Hanzo all share? Like, that's very hard to find a common link, but all of those heroes can do damage in different ways. Like Widow with headshots and one-shot abilities and line of sight holding, Hanzo with his spam damage and shield breaking, Tracer and Genji with their flanks and high DPS pressure value. Like, that's the only real synergy that exists, because each one of those heroes covers the other person's vulnerability and weaknesses, essentially. That's why it works, not because it synergizes like with, we would say, like Far Mercy, for example.
I kind of get it. It's just
It's very hard. We need to. That's why you're confused, because there's no set rules for quad DPS. Like, there's no like a, okay, this composition is countered by this composition. This way to play counters this way to play, because it's not like that. It's not a team aspect. It's a player aspect, essentially. That's why it works, because that's why we have everybody making these chaotic changes. That's why June probably was getting probably mad about it, and that's why you're probably confused, is because it's not streamlined. It's not like GOATs in World Cup where people have like Excel spreadsheets of counters. It's not like that. It's a case basis per every situation. Like with our Dorado, we had a Pharmacy versus GOATs, and they managed to beat us in the last round, even though we had all the right counters. But then on Nepal, they ran the same thing, but because they couldn't position themselves or play better, they lost. So it's like case basis, you know what I mean? It's never a solid. It's like water. It flows. It's not stable. It's not one solid object like a brick. You know what I mean?
unless we make it still.
Essentially, we have to kind of force it. We want to make it still, kind of like standing still water, or like ice, where ice is still technically water, it's just hardened a little bit and frozen. That's what we kind of need for our compositions, because instead of us just like freak out like swapping to random heroes and stuff like that, because it's very confusing to know if what you're doing is getting value in a way that's helping the team enough, because that's something you have to be humble about as a player, and you have to say, am I doing value? Am I doing good? And that's something where, you know, you as an in-game caller have to call it. You have to say, I don't think you're getting enough value on this hero. Grab this one, because you can do this, and this. Like, you have to learn how to do that, Sonny, or you can either try and streamline it and make it more set compositions, if that makes sense.
Yeah. This is gonna be hard for me.
I'm glad we had June's friend record this, because I'm gonna look over all these. That'll be my way of getting back, and I'll just look at the fights that we won, look at the fights that we lost, what the team was running and what they were running, and then I will bring it to you and June and his friend, if wherever he is at.
Tell your friend thank you, dude. That was really nice of you.
That was big. I had a mini emergency tonight, so I apologize for that. But at least we were able to save the videos. But that'll be my way of paying back, is just figuring out the best way to streamline this and make it easier on you and easier on everybody else, so that way we aren't like, it's like musical chairs.
Sorry, I'm gonna leave. I gotta leave now. Sorry.
You're good. You're good to head out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's the problem, is that we have to streamline it, because right now it's like musical chairs. We're just swapping and jumping out of different
Maybe
heroes.
it's not. Maybe it's not.